common sense isn't so common anymore because we have parents that for 2 or 3 generations now have let their kids be raised by video games, iPads, computer. The school has made it to where like now there's all these grading curves, participation trophies for education and stuff like that. We're seeing the consequences of that.
This is Right About Now with Ryan Alford, a Radcast Network production. We are the #1 business show on the planet with over 1 million downloads a month. Taking the BS out of business for over 6 years and over 400 episodes. You ready to start snapping necks and cashing checks? Well, it starts right about now.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Right About Now. Hey, we're trying to make it all right in today's world, and ultimately we're bringing you what's now. And I've been following my next guest for quite a bit on social. He doesn't know me probably as well as I know him, just for at least following him. And I'll say this. We say we take the BS out of business. I like this guy because I can see through the bullshit that you see on the internet with some of these people talking. And Ryan Stewman, you may like him, you may not like him, but you know what? He ain't full of shit. He knows what he's talking about. He's a smart guy, and he is the hardcore closer. What's up, Ryan?
What's up, man? Glad to be here.
Yeah, dude. Hey, just happy to have you, man. You're in my, the algorithms is an interesting thing. I don't know what it says. I don't know if I just, because I will say this, there's an edge of anger to Ryan just a little bit that I feel that's like, I bet you it's old Ryan. I could see Ryan like 20 years ago, might maybe being a little angry and young or something. And now he's got wisdom, he's got money, he's got maybe a little power, but he channels it in the right way. But I don't know, it's hitting my algorithm because I don't know if I'm a little angry these days because you hit my feed every day.
Yeah, I have terrible bedside manner.
I could see that.
But I speak the truth, and so I don't feel like I have to sugarcoat things. The lies need to be sugarcoated. The bullshit needs to make somebody feel good. I just want to be straight up, and that's who I am. That's how I've always been. And some like it, some don't, and it's just, that's just how I am. If you don't like me, that's cool. Unfriend, unfollow, block, whatever the fuck you got to do, and move on.
Yeah. But I think if people want to, like the rapper, you might not always like the rapper, but like once you get inside, like the knowledge that you have is clearly there. The experience is there. And I think if people spend enough time, they'll see that it's real. But Ryan, I do like to set the table for our audience, for you. I know you're the CEO and founder of Apex, but let's just I'll let you use your words. You've done a lot of shows. People can go watch the episode that's about Ryan's background only, but maybe hit it a little bit of the high notes, and then we'll talk about some business.
So, I'm a prolific mistake maker, and that's how I got wisdom. And, I've lived a very humbling life of ups and downs. I call it rock bottom lows and meteoric highs. I was adopted at age 7, became a drug dealer at age 14, went to prison at age 19, went to prison again at age 25, I think I was. I've been in 8 different maximum security institutions. I've been divorced. You name it, I've screwed it up. But I'm a good example of what can happen in life if you just refuse to be a victim, if you refuse to quit, if you refuse to give up on the opportunity that we have in front of us here as Americans. So despite all of those prolific mistakes and horrific things that I've had to endure in my life, I'm a husband, been married to my wife for 7 years. We've been together 10 years. I've got 4 kids that are amazing. I run a nice business that changes people's lives and shows them how to overcome struggles and things of that nature. So, that's me in a nutshell, just fighting the force of average on a daily basis. I have this belief that the world wants to keep you average. If you live below average, it'll give you support, welfare, free housing, and grants, stuff like that. You can go get a job and live a middle-class life. But when we decide to choose greatness, we get into a situation where there's this gravitational pull and push against us to push back down to being an average citizen. So when you're chasing greatness, when you want more than the average person, you're going to pay higher taxes. You're going to have bigger problems. You're going to have a lot more stress. And so I'm chasing greatness. I'm a long ways from great. I'll be the greatest I'll ever be the day that I die. But I'm chasing it, and it's not easy.
No, it's not. I think what's interesting about what you just said, Ryan, is I think all the best practices in the world are set up to get average, right? And so when you're actually chasing the top of the mountain, or you're aspiring to things, and the world is conditioning us. I have 4 boys too. So look, I have to condition them out of what they get taught, which is to fall in line and be average. And if you want to have a bigger life, a better life, to have impact, to do things, you have to sort of take risks and break free from average. And I think that's probably what's always stood out a little bit with your content. I'm like, okay, it never felt like it had an agenda, because it felt like it was free. Like you were freed up. But I think it was because if you want to chase past what everyone else has, you got to be willing to do what no one else is willing to do. And I feel like that's a lot of the ways you've built your business. It looks like it.
Yeah. The name of my company is Break Free Academy for that reason.
I didn't even know it. Look at there.
Yeah.
I love it. And what does that stand for to you?
Well, I think that, as human beings, like I've said, we're fighting this force of average. We are fighting mental limitations. We're fighting financial limitations. We're fighting everything in our reality. And so, freedom means you have the time and the means to do whatever you want, whenever you want. And like in business, most people, they get into business because they want to be their own boss and then have time freedom. But then what happens for most people is they have neither of those. They have to answer to investors, a board of directors, employees, middle management, and they have no time left over to do the things that they want to do with the money that they've made. So, I'm just trying to help people break free from all of that stuff.
Ryan, what's your opinion on like the state of America and business? We've got an election coming up. We're not scared to go down any road here on right about now. We take the BS out of business. So we're in an election season. I'm personally, and I think you probably feel this way, like no matter who's elected, it's not going to get in the way of my success. However, I think we all have opinions about the business climate, and just respecting you in your experience, your wisdom. What do you make of the business climate right now in America?
Well, this is the first time in my life. I'm 45 years old. This is the first time in my life the administration and the government has got in the way of my success. And, well, that's not true. So when I was a drug dealer and I was trying to be successful as a drug dealer, the government got in the way of my success.
Yeah.
And then because I became a convicted felon and Dodd-Frank was passed in 2010, they wouldn't allow me to do financial stuff anymore because I was a felon. So they've intervened twice, but it hasn't stopped my success. But right now, think about this. It's 2024. Just 2 years ago, you can make money off of Rolexes, Lamborghinis, private jet charters, crypto, NFTs, mastermind. Dude, anything we touched, real estate, houses and cars were selling for tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars over list price. Interest rates were dirt cheap. Gasoline was dirt cheap. Everything you touched, you made money from. And our government got in there and went, fuck these people, take it all away from them. There's no other time in my life. Like I was a loan officer in 2007, 8, 9, and 10. And even though the mortgage market was crashing, there were still people that were making money, and it was only the real estate and mortgage market that was crashing. I never seen the government come in and take everything away like they have the last couple of years. And, what happens is we're chasing policy from, like when Congress passes an act or a law or a president puts an executive order in, it takes a few years for it to catch up. It doesn't happen immediately. And we're seeing the day that Joe Biden took office and signed 62 executive orders to undo everything that Trump did. We're seeing the results of that in our economy right now. And you're blind if you can't see that, because Stevie Wonder can see it.
Yeah. It's funny. I think Kamala got like show notes from him because I watched him speak at like one of her events, and it was very eloquent, by the way, for It's Stevie Wonder, but he said nothing while saying a lot of words, which is a lot of what I hear out of her mouth, and I still really don't have a fucking clue what she's talking about. And I mean, I don't know. Let's put the other side in policy. Just putting that over here, like I have no idea. No idea whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm an independent. I like Bill Clinton. I like Barack Obama. I like Ronald Reagan. And I liked Obama a lot. I like Bill Clinton a lot. Bush 1 sucked. Bush 2 was good. Trump was great. Biden's been a nightmare. And Kamala, her thing is, it's hilarious because she just says a bunch of synonyms. She goes, we have desires, aspirations, and needs and wants. And because we have desires and aspirations and needs and wants, there are things that we feel we should be able to acquire and have and own. And it's like, are you just fucking saying the same word 3 different synonyms at a time? Like, get to it, lady.
Get to it. Tell me something. I saw there was a comedian that that's been, you seen that bouncing around or something, like talking in circles. I think it's like suing the campaign because they, I don't know, claimed that they were supporting her or something and talking in circles like, tomorrow we're going to do it. And, there's something about tomorrow and doing it that's doing it. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's it.
Anyway, it's going to be interesting.
Sounds good to idiot, but it's as annoying as fuck to somebody that's got a little bit of an education and experience in this world,
Yeah. I think I'll say this. This is a test of the IQ of America right here. I hate to say it. We're going to get to find out real fast where we're at.
Well, common sense isn't so common anymore because we have parents that for 2 or 3 generations now have let their kids be raised by video games, iPads, computers. The school has made it to where, like, when I was in school, if you didn't get straight A's, you got in trouble. And now there's all these grading curves, participation trophies for education and stuff like that. And we're seeing the consequences of that. When I was young, if you were told the stove would burn your hand and you put your hand on it anyway, they laughed at you. They were like, you're an idiot. I told you the stove was hot. And now it's like, oh my God, we've got to get rid of stoves. It's just a completely different climate, and we're seeing the consequences of that.
Yeah, accountability is the word, and it's gone out the window because we have conditioned everything to be convenient and comfortable, and it's great. Look, I think you and I have kids. We want our kids to be comfortable. We don't want them. It's not that we don't want them to have a great life, but you don't learn or have a great life without lessons and consequences and accountability. And I think you've nailed it. I think we're seeing the participation trophy people are now running companies and government and other things. And so they want, like, what's crime in California? You can murder somebody, you're out of jail in 10 years. Like, it's like
they don't even report it in some of these cities like LA and New York. They don't even report it anymore. Like the FBI put a report out the other day saying crime's down by 4%, but that's because New York, Los Angeles, Houston, Texas, Chicago doesn't report crime to the FBI anymore.
Yeah.
So we're not getting real statistics. We're not getting a real education. We're not getting real accountability. And we wonder why we have fake ass people running our economy that are in power. It's crazy.
Yeah. Ryan, talk to me about, like, from a business standpoint, you said you're feeling it. Is there a specific policy or, I don't know, enlightening our listeners to, because I like to be specific, we have and look, I'm independent as well. I've voted on both sides of the line. I think my practicality and principles and morals probably lean right, but I'm not afraid to cross the aisle. So I consider myself independent. But I will say this, like, is there something in specific, like for our listeners, so we're not the one, say we don't want to be the Kamala. We want to be specific. Like, what's the biggest thing that sort of impacted you from a business with today's client?
Well, there's a couple of things. I sell to business owners, so I get to hear from people all day, every day that aren't making as much money as they used to. And there's actually a few things that come into play. Number one, 2 years ago, interest rates were at 3 and 4%. You could go buy a rental property and you could cash flow it. Now you have to buy that thing for cash or put a significantly larger down payment down to get it to cash flow at 6.5 to 7.5%. Then on top of that, in a lot of blue states, they have capped the amount of raise that you can put on the rent. So if you raise the rent every year, they've said, you can only do 5%, you can do 10%. But they didn't cap the amount of tax increase because the property values went up. They didn't cap the amount of insurance. My properties in Florida, I've sold all of them but one, and I'll sell it in November, is because I can't raise rent, but the insurance company raised my policy 300%. So the government said, fuck the landlord, but we're going to take care of the insurance companies and the municipalities. And a lot of business owners own real estate, whether it's the office that they have or whether it's their portfolio of real estate. And when that shit stops cash flowing and then an HVAC goes out or a roof gets damaged or a tenant destroys the house on the way out, they're out every dollar that they've made for an entire year on that. Yeah. The second problem is, let's say in 2022, you made $1 million and 2023, you've got to pay taxes on that $1 million. But taxes are paid in arrears in 2023 in April, May, June, July, whenever it is you decide to pay taxes as a business owner, depending on when you expend it, you're having a year that is 20, 30, 40% less as good of cash flow as it was in 2022. So now every dollar that you saved has gone out the window in 2023, and you can't take the loss in 2023 till this year. And this year, if your business is down again, you owe. So we're trailing from better years in business going down and getting taxed in arrears. And it's like, fuck, man, I'm already out of money. And now they're taxing me from a year ago when I thought things were going to continue to be good. So I maybe bought more inventory, maybe got a bigger warehouse, maybe went and hired more people. And now I'm not making as much money and I still owe those taxes and I got to let these people go in order to do that. I hear these stories all day, every day, man. So, it's a combination of things. And on top of that, as an American, just not even a business owner, our cost of goods are up. And the reason why is because I own a diesel truck, and diesel is traditionally less expensive than gas. But a few years ago, they started making us put death fuel on top of diesel, and now diesel's more expensive than gas. And I'm watching freight companies and trucking companies go out of business left and right because they've got to charge a higher price in order to pay for the expensive diesel. And man, when you're in a semi truck and you're burning 3-4 gallons to the mile because you've got a big ass load in the trailer that you're traveling with, you can't take a loss on that. You've got to make some money. So you either lower your margin or you go out of business, and watching a lot of that happen too. So the cost of goods may only be, and this is the lie of the statistics we see from the government, the cost of goods may only be up 4 or 5%, but the lack of drilling new wells, we haven't drilled a new well in America since 2017. We haven't opened a new refinery in forever, and everything's operating at max capacity. Diesel is super expensive, which means the transportation of goods to get to the store, to get to our doorstep, is through the fucking roof. And so now we're having to pay more for that too. So health insurance is up, property insurance is up, cost of goods is up. Even if you're making more money right now, you're actually making less money because everything else that you have to do is more expensive. For a family of 6 in my house, health insurance, and we're all healthy. None of us have anything wrong with us. It's $3,000 a month. That's $36,000 a year. So if I wasn't a good entrepreneur, I'd either have to go take a job where they pay for my health insurance, which costs the company $36,000 a year, or if I make $100,000, I'm really only making $64,000 to live on just after health insurance. That's not mortgage. That's not gas. That's not food. That's not any of that shit.
Yeah. Hey, dude, look, we take the BS out of business. That was just a master class in what is happening in the economy right now that's impacting business. And number one that you talked about, Ryan, I talk about a lot. The impact of interest rates being high is having a huge impact because here's the thing, things that aren't even related to real estate, the cash that it's keeping out of the everyday market because those rates aren't so high, because people aren't doing what you're saying, flipping houses, doing things. When you stall real estate in this country, you have stalled the entire economy. There's not as much free cash flow and just business transactions happening. I've been talking about that for months. I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, the other problem is I read a statistic from NAR 3 or 4 days ago. 47% of real estate agents have not sold a home in the last 12 months. And the median home sales per real estate agent in the country right now is 2 in 12 months. It was 3 just a couple of years ago, right? So that's been cut by a third. And, traditionally hard money rates were like 8-9%. Now they're 12 to 15. The SBA was 6 to 7%. Right now, the SBA is at 12 to 16%. So you can't go acquire businesses. You can't acquire houses and profit from them. Even if you buy a primary residence, like my home, I paid $1 million for it 6 years ago. It's worth $2 million right now. Prices have gone up in my area. If I were to sell that house and keep $1 million, first of all, I'm going to be taxed on $300,000 of that because it's only a $700,000 non-capital gain primary residence. So I'm going to be taxed on $300,000 of that. Then if I go buy another house that only costs me $1 million, maybe I move further out of the city, so I'm paying more for gas, transportation, things of that nature. And that house at $1 million costs more than my house right now with the low interest rate. I have a ranch house that I've bought for $440,000. And the mortgage is more money per month on that than it is for the $1 million house that I bought 6 years ago and refinanced at 2.875%. So I'm paying $1,000 less a month for a $2 million house that I've owned for 6 years than a $400,000 home that I bought just a year ago.
Yeah, dude, this is the shit. It's like we throw around all this stuff and people talk about things, but this is the hard reality of it. It's like, this is the impact. And so you have a guy like Ryan busted his ass, running businesses, creating jobs, doing these things, investments, but these are the impacts for him. Imagine what the impacts, talk about cost of goods, like everyday people that are paying $7 for a loaf of bread and all this, but then that's back to the fuel, the cost of getting it there, right?
Well, I mean, consider this. You make $120,000 a year, which historically is excellent money.
Great money.
But you got 3 kids, so you're paying $2,200 a month, or let's call it $30,000 a year for health insurance. Then you're paying 35%, 38% in taxes. So you're really living on about $35,000 to $40,000 a year after just taxes and health insurance on a W-2 job with a couple of kids in $120,000 a year salary. It's fucking crazy. And right now, I'm somewhat of a Main Street economist because I've been in the financial markets for 20 years. But anytime the Fed cuts rates, they're chasing problems. And unemployment is at an all-time high right now. You're not going to get that from a government statistic, but it is what it is. And inflation is actually going down a little bit. So the Fed cut rates because of unemployment. Companies can go out and borrow cheaper money and expand and hire more people. But anytime the Fed has cut the rate, there is always, within the next 3 to 12 months, a 20 to 55% decline in the value of the stock market overall. So that means we haven't even seen the market crash yet and the ramifications of what are to come from that because of this rate cut, because they don't just cut the rate because they're like, we want to be nice to people and give them more money. That's not how it works.
No. And the whole point in that is, yeah, we want the rates to come down, but they didn't need to get that high to begin with because these policies created this. Now, they're both the They're both the cause of the disease and the prescription. That's the problem. You know that it's dangerous when you cause the problem.
Problem solver if I don't go create a bunch of problems. That's what
right.
These politicians do. They go create a bunch of problems and then promise us that they'll solve them. It's like, motherfucker, you did this.
Yeah.
The solution was not to raise rates 6 fucking consecutive times in a row. You could have, yes, 3% interest rate is ridiculously low. That was great. But anybody with a half a brain knows the sweet spot in America for mortgage interest rates is 5.5%. That's enough to keep people buying. It's not too expensive. That's the sweet spot. They should have raised it from 3 to 5.5 and just stayed there. But fuck that. They went to 7.5.
Yeah. And they flatlined everything else. And you don't feel it immediately. That's why we're starting to feel it now, because it's catching up.
Yep.
And that's why I'm going to mention one of our sponsors. It's the independencenter.org. If you believe in independent thinking, you want to be part of a community dedicated to that. It's about policy, and it's not about partisan politics. That's what they are about. We support that. Constructive dialogue, policy reform, and improvement. We're talking policies, that stuff that you don't hear out of the mouth of certain candidates. Independencenter.org. They are an official sponsor of Right About Now. We support them because we need more free thinkers, and we need to talk about policies and not politics. Yeah, brother. I mean, you're speaking the truth here. Where do you see what's your crystal ball say? I guess if you knew who was going to win the election, you'd probably have some money on it or something. But what's 2020? It's like, what's 2025 going to be like? Is it like, well, let me see after November?
Well, I try to have a positive outlook on life. So I think Trump is going to win, but they could cheat. I think he won in 2022. Unpopular opinion, but I don't believe that more people voted for Joe Biden than voted for Obama. I just don't believe it.
Yeah.
I don't think that as many people like Kamala as the media is making it out to be in the polls and stuff. But let's say they cheat, or by some miracle of the stupidity of this country, she wins. She's going to be the first female president. She's going to be the second person of color president. If she fails and doesn't turn this thing around, it's going to be a major problem. And if I was a minority, which I'm not, so I can't speak on their behalf, and like Obama came in and by his second term, turned the economy around. It was fucking doing great. You know, things were on the boom. It set up Trump to come in and take it to the next level. And Bush, a white guy, obviously screwed the economy up in his last 4 years, right? And Obama, it takes a while to get things right. And by about Obama's 3rd or 4th year in, things started turning around. The mortgage market picked back up and things started working well. We needed that because we wanted a guy like you that was the first African-American ever elected president to go, hey, man, we elected an African-American. He did a hell of a job for us when it was all said and done. What a great guy. We've got to do the same thing with a woman, or a woman will never be fucking elected ever again. Yeah. She's got to come in as a person of color and a woman, and she's got to make changes, especially if she wants to get reelected. So I think no matter who wins, if Trump wins, he's got nothing to lose. He's only got 4 more years, so he could come in and fucking God knows what, put all the Department of Justice under investigation, turn the economy around. He's got a whole bag of tricks he can use. She could come in and make herself look like she changed the world as the first person or the second person of color to be president and the first woman. She could open up aspirations for a whole generation of people who used to not want to be president, but now see themselves, and it could really make a big change. And she's going to want to get reelected and keep that power for the second time around because she's not as old as Joe Biden. So I'm hoping that no matter who gets in there, they're actually smart enough to make things better and see the bigger future and the bigger picture. Because if Trump gets elected, he's paving the way for a guy like Vivek to come in after him, another billionaire, another businessman, and run the economy, turn it around, and keep running up the score, which is who I wanted to be president anyway, right?
Yep.
If she wins, then she's paving the way for the future women that want to be president, the future minorities that want to be president, and, should pave a way. When she leaves office, there's such a legacy that she turned around this shit show and did such a good job. But I don't know if that'll happen or not, but I would like to assume that that's the agenda of both candidates, to get in there and make a positive difference and leave a legacy for the future of our country. But, I'm a big guy. I'm not a degenerate piece of shit like most of these politicians are. So he could come in here and just want total control, dominion, take away guns, raise taxes, and fuck the country too. I don't know.
Yes. But I will say this, Ryan. Trump's such an interesting candidate because, people, I don't know about you. I feel like there's a lot of people that are going to vote for Trump that actually would tell you they're not going to vote for Trump to your face.
Yes.
Because he's a polarizing, like they're embarrassed of him. And that's kind of a shame. I mean, people are stupid if they are, but a lot of people are. I think they're like, they don't want to admit that. I feel like there's a lot of that out there. They're like, they don't like what's going on. They probably lean Democrat or might even be Democrat, but they're like, they own businesses or they're feeling that impact, but they'd never admit it to your face. And they might even poll that they're voting for Kamala. But when they get behind that window, I don't know. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, I think we judge Trump on his bedside manner.
Yeah.
People do the same thing to me. They're like, Stewman's not a nice guy. I'm one of the nicest guys out there. You just can't tell from my face or my voice. And you can trust me to do what I say I'm going to do. You can trust me to keep my word. I don't have to be nice, quote unquote, to people because I don't have anything to hide. Oftentimes in my life, the nicest guys that try to charm the pants off of you or charm the money out of your pocketbook are the liars and thieves, and that's why they're so damn nice. The guys that are straight shooters, I always appreciate, and this is from my prison days, I always appreciate them because I know who they are and how they act. Whether they're nice or not, I know who they are and how to treat them. It's the guys that pretend to be one way and the ladies that pretend to be one way but are actually another way because they're living this facade or this lie. And people don't understand that. They want somebody to make them feel good instead of somebody to actually be good.
Yeah. And that's why I respect you, man. I know you got to go. I hope we had a little bit of technical issues at the beginning. Let's do this again, man. Let's do it again soon and, have a part 2 if you got time for it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Hey, guys, look, Ryan just nailed it there. You need to go follow him. You need to go check out Apex because it isn't about being nice. It's about being right and being good and not catering to what people want to hear, but what they need to hear. That's what we're doing here on Right About Now. Ryan, where can everybody keep up with you specifically?
Just to add one more thing to that. If you're fat and everybody tells you it's okay to be fat and you're beautiful and all this stuff when you're clearly not, those people are lying to you and doing wrong versus the person that calls you fat and hurts your feelings and tells you to get in the gym and start eating correctly and holds you accountable. Now, you're more likely to hate the person that calls you fat and tells you to get in the gym and eat right, but that person actually cares more about you as the person, than the people who care about your feelings and how you perceive them as nice people. So the truth hurts, but God designed the truth to hurt us because we're only motivated by 2 things, pain and pleasure. And the truth hurts to motivate you because of pain to go do what you need to do. And we just hide as citizens, as humans. We're hiding from the truth and we're trying to get pleasure out of everything. But pain is a bigger motivator than pleasure.
Yeah. And I want to add to that. It's a cycle of comfort because the person that doesn't tell you the truth isn't not telling you the truth to make you feel good. It's so they feel good because they don't have to see you respond negatively and be hurt. They want to be liked too. Everybody wants comfort. Everybody wants to be liked. But it takes real strength, real courage, and real belief to tell you the truth because then that's what's truly good for the other person and not good for them. Yep. I love it, Ryan. Where can everybody keep up with you?
Instagram at Hardcore Closer, Facebook, Ryan Stewman. Both of those have blue checks. They're verified accounts. I'll never hit you up for crypto or slide in your DMs from a backup page asking for bullshit. If you enjoyed the show, if you got something out of what I said, just slide in my DMs, say hello, say you enjoyed the show, let me know. And it's me really managing that, not a team, so I'll talk to you on there.
I love it. He's real, and he's right. You know where to find us, ryanisright.com. We'll have links to all Ryan Stewman's stuff, Hardcore Closer. Go follow him. And you can find us over on YouTube. Watch this full episode. We're blowing up over there. We're taking over. We're taking the BS out of business. We'll see you next time on Right About Now.
This has been Right About Now with Ryan Alford, a Radcast Network production. Visit ryanisright.com for full audio and video versions of the show or to inquire about sponsorship opportunities. Thanks for listening.